Hello everybody, I'm doing a first. I wanted to practice a solo transcriptions, which we do often, me and both Timothy do. I thought I might share the process, certainly as I'm about to dig into a solo by Allan Holdsworth. So it's a guitar solo that I try to get onto saxophone. And the last time I did that was on Zarabeth. That was really hard but very intense, and also one of the most productive things I probably did, because you have to be really creative to to come up with a lot of solutions, because about every bar or every line that you play is it's really not something you would play on a saxophone. And I'm not sure, it's probably one thing because it's a guitar player, and another thing because it's Allan Holdsworth, who I'm told, at least by Timothy and other guitar players, is also really unusual stuff even for guitar players. But only just looking at the sheet or at the lines that he plays really opens up a complete different world for me, at least. Even if it's not that hard. I mean, some lines are feasible enough, but even then the choice of notes is really different from a saxophone player would do over changes, really. So that's very interesting. And by the way, let me know who's watching and say hello, where you live. That would be really nice to know. Otherwise, it just seems like I'm a lunatic talking to my laptop here. So that would be really nice. And if you have any questions at all, just let me know, or I'll be sharing a bit the process, because I looked through the chart, of course, already a bit before. I didn't play it, but it seems there will be a ton of technical challenges I need to tackle to be able to play this solo. Hi Edwin, hi, nice to meet you over there. So that's, we will maybe wait a minute or two, maybe some other people will join in. So let me know, are you practicing at this moment? I mean, for most people, unfortunately, it's lockdown time, or at least stay at home advice from the government, like it is here in Belgium, by the way. So I'm doing just that, and I do have a lot of just more time. I don't have too much time. I still have stuff I want to do, a lot of stuff I want to do, but it really frees up some time. So now I'm finally getting into this amazing solo by Allan. And the first thing we will do probably is maybe just listen to it on with the transcription Timothy made, because he sent me this transposed. It's with a lot of it's of course in he likes to transcribe it just in C without any key, because it seems to be F minor-ish or F sus, the original C concert key, so that would be D for saxophone. But I get his way of transcribing that there are so many things happening. It doesn't have a very clear tone center anyway, so why bother too much with putting it in a tone center if it's changing after even 4 bars or 8 bars. So he mostly puts nothing of a key kind onto the sheet. So he put it in C. It's not really in C, it's a F tune. That's at least probably the key they were thinking in it. But that makes the transposition for alto sax, I'm doing this on alto sax, of course, is with 3 sharps. That's something I have to keep in mind. So hi Rico from North Carolina. Cool. Let's go on to it, because I'm talking probably too much. I also want to play a bit and show you the process. Really, I can already say that I have to octavate quite sometimes because it really doesn't fit in the in the alto range, of course. So but that's one of the easier things to do. There will be also some false fingerings, sorry, needed because there are a lot of double notes. So let's see how that will turn out. I don't know how the audio is, by the way. This is the first time I did this. It's quite a new thing, so let me know. Edwin says you're studying Fatigue Solo by Allan Holdsworth. Cool. So what instrument do you play? That would be nice to know. Are you also a different instrumentalist, or are you guitar player? I mean, it's cool if you're a guitar player, study Allan. That's really cool. But I like now probably to... I like saxophone stuff a lot, and I do have... Yeah, I have even here just like a general thing. I have to look with this split screen, but I have this thing always on my stand. I mean, I like to play through it. I like to play just even tunes that I didn't hear really from a recording from Parker. But I think it really opens up your creative process if you study other solos. So I learned so much from the Zarabet solo last time. It's crazy. Okay, you play guitar, Edwin. Cool. It's super cool. I mean, even if you have to study Allan on guitar, that's probably really hard. Cool. Guys, let's listen for those of you who never heard solo, which is very possible, of course. Maybe let's just hear it with Timothy's transcription. I'll be putting that up. I don't know if you see it because I made a kind of split screen where I already prepared my E flat sheet, so maybe you won't see the sheet so well in this left corner where I placed myself. But that's also not too much of a thing. Let's just listen to the solo first. Yeah, cool. Thank you for the feedback that it was loud. It's really hard to tell. I have my mic up. It's facing me for my voice, so but my speakers are behind it, so I figured it might be soft, so that's why I put it louder. But thanks for the feedback. So I don't have any kind of feedback on that really. So that's the solo. It's really amazing. Where to start? Well, mostly what I do, I like to sight read. That might be a funny feat, but I like to read. I also dig jobs where they ask me to, like big bands where I have to sub and I have to lead. I have to read sheet music. I really like that. I really like that a lot. Mostly musicians for some reason don't like to sight read. I do. So mostly I go through it. I listen to it, of course, but now I'll go through it. Yeah, I'll go through it just easy. Not, of course, not trying to attempt any kind of the tempo that it is in. It's more or less something that I also always remembered from Eric Marienthal. He did a master class, the saxophone player, in case you don't know him, with the Chicoria Electric Band, and he told about Chicoria and how he would practice. And he had a few funny mentions of how Chick practices. By the way, something which we all can enjoy now. The last 15 days, he's doing live streaming sessions too on Facebook. That's so amazing. But one of those things was that apparently Chick would study after that they played concerts with the electric band. I mean, that's so intense, and he would stay at his piano and start practicing even for his upcoming classical gigs. So that's really something amazing. I probably wouldn't have any kind of maybe energy left even if you play that kind of concert, but he would like to do that. And one of his main things was that when he was playing or when he was practicing hard things, he would go and play it even out of tempo, not on a slow tempo, just out of tempo. And he would put his finger like on the C and then to the next note, and then wait and to the next note, but without tempo, just to feel how it, to really make sure how it would feel going from one to the next note, really. It's so simple as that. And then, of course, he has a lot of technical background, so he was already very trained. So, and when he then would play it on tempo, he could really burn it down. But it really makes sense to, what you first have to do is give your fingers the right kind of information, and that's really essential. A lot of players I see studying, very good players too, but mostly they try too often to get into a tempo that sounds satisfying, which is a very normal thing to do, of course, guys. I mean, I have that same thing too, but I really try to keep myself back because I know that you will just stumble on notes and some phrases, and then you give your fingers actually weird kind of information and you give them stumbling information. So you're giving them some dust and dirt in between the lines, and then you have to try to correct that that bad kind of information. So I think it's very important in the beginning of the process to give and feed your fingers the right information. So doing it without, it can have a bit of time, of course. You don't need to play it completely without time, but it's really not the main thing. Focus on the notes and how they connect. Just go from one to the other, and that's what I will try now today. Let me read a few of the comments. Okay. So, yes, I'm not sure. I thought it would be taking the... Thank you, Ryan, for the feedback. I'm not sure I have a gate on. I do it with, OBS. That's a software program. and it says it's taking my mic, I guess. Let me try and see that. Yeah, it says it's taking the mic audio. There's a mic that is here, like this microphone. I don't know if this makes any kind of difference, maybe even, but it's pretty close. Yeah, tell me if it's really bad, then I maybe need to stop the live stream and try to fix it and do a few turns of putting out YouTube tutorials on how to get it well. So let me know. It's really nice to have the feedback in the comment section. Thank you, Ryan and Rico, who said a few things before. But I'll try. I didn't play yet, of course. So let's try with the saxophone. I hope you can all hear it kind of clearly. So maybe let me put it a bit closer. Maybe that helps. So. Okay, I hope this helps a bit. This is way closer. No, it's more for my voice, of course, but I guess it will take my saxophone anyway. Let's try a bit. So, let's go to the first line. That was just a retest, by the way, because if you start talking and it's quite warm nowadays here, it really dries out. So also let me know how the saxophone sounds, if it's loud, if it's not loud. Cool. The closer really helps. That's nice. Yeah, I also don't want to overturn the game. It's a cool mic, but I'm really a saxophone player, guys. For this YouTube channel, I did a lot of digging into all the technical stuff, but I'm not really a hero in it. So, let's go. Yes. So this already I had to completely octavate, by the way. That's you cannot play that low A and G for the guitar players that are here. I'll explain a bit what that's for a saxophone player, but so it makes sense to put the whole thing, I think, octave up. It's not so nice to do. I try to not do it if it's not necessary, because I had to do it a few times in the Zarabet solo, because when you do it in the same octave, you really can lock, and I really dig the sound of, saxophones together with guitar. Unison, it can really lock, certainly if you have a bright sound, and I think I have a bright sound. It helps with the mouthpiece. By the way, I'm now playing, normally I play the Beechler, but I bought this one on NAMM in January when I was in Los Angeles. That's the Eric Marienthal Retro Revival. It also plays really nice, plays really comfortable. So that was the beginning. That's not too hard. Let's go from the second line. Let's see how we will there. We kind of have to transfer there back to the normal register. So. Otherwise it will go pretty high there. So. Yes, and then we have, you can see, I'll try to show you with the mouse. I should have put something with a color on it, then it's kind of more clear for you guys. But there's two D's for me here, so that will be already a false fingering. I play that with the saxophone, guys, so you have just a normal D, and then I play it with, what's the side E flat, only the single one, so it sounds like. that's enough of difference of color, so that works fine. And he puts that, that's what that bar, how is it called again? Really, I'm no guitar player, you can see that a lot. Timothy said it. I don't know, that bar for those bendings, so I'm trying to put a bit of the bendings already. Hi, Michael. Yeah, cool that you're joining. So, that's kind of still okay. And then we come into the fast lines, but now I did kind of the first lines had still some kind of rhythm, although it was not that tight, but I don't mind too much. Like I said, I'm more checking out the melody, how it fits within range, and false fingerings, and some things will be maybe even not playable, probably. And now we come to one of his first real deal lines. That will be fun. Let's see the comments also in between. If you see me watching higher, that's because I have a second screen and there is all the kind of mechanics of the stream on. So also your comments. Yeah, little difference in intonation. That's true. That's a good observation. But that's kind of stuff for the next stage. I first have to really figure out if it's even feasible enough. I mean, if I can transfer it to the alto saxophone, because there are some crazy lines and some fast lines are nice, but some, if they go into like, when I just read through it, there will be some lines that will be with a lot of the side keys to the, that will be a lot of flipping in my hands. I'm not sure if I will get there, but with Sarabet I thought kind of the same, so I'm not giving up too easily, guys. I really need to just figure it out, and then you always kind of can try. I mean, you should be able to come up with some kind of solution, even a like a worst kind of solution. For me, the worst kind of solution is if I have to play a cool, nice line just an octave lower or something, because it's still in the range kind of the horn, but it's just not on a nice technical part of the saxophone. But on the other hand, I think a lot of saxophone players, absolutely me included, are very undertrained in some areas of the saxophone, because if you play some Charlie Parker solos, and they are really cool, guys. Don't understand me in a bad way or so. I really dig Charlie Parker, but it's all very saxophonistic what is in there. It's all really nice. It feels nice under the fingers. It's really designed for a saxophone, and you start to really upping your game in technical abilities when you start doing other instruments, because they have really other also different kind of technical difficulties. So what's your language? Oh, what? Oh, the Charlie Parker thing then. Did I curse? I don't think so. I hope so. So let's go on to that fast line. I'll do that very slow, like I said, the Chicoria way. Whoa, already at that tempo, this is really intense for my brain. Let me do that again. It's okay, there are a few double notes, but they really, there is a kind of easy false fingering way to do that. Let's do it again. And then we come to that second part, the next line. Whoa, I really already enjoy the line at this speed, so that's it's really a kind of meditation if you do it on this slow speed, and that's really nice. Let's do it again. Hi, I then you're transcribing Cherokee. I assume is it which version is it? Is it one of the first versions in Trio? There is a very that then you're transcribing one of my favorite Charlie Parker solos. It's so much of perfection in melody and lines. Um, Suggestions if I have any suggestions. Don't take too much at the same time, guys. I did about 100 solos now. I recently counted, and I still. It depends on what you're transcribing, really, but just kind of. It helps if you have a software where you can loop stuff. So loop a bar maximum, like maximum a bar certainly if there are a lot of notes in, or maybe 2 beats or even 1 beat. Loop it a bit, loop it a bit. Don't play too fast along. I even don't play most of the times. I don't check it even when I'm doing like a saxophone transcription. I'm nowadays. First, I was doing the bad mistake of, you know, I listened to it once and then the second time I already would take my saxophone and superimpose like what I thought the notes would be and cover actually everything up that was playing, and that was already a second time, and I would make a lot of mistakes that way because you're playing louder than you're recording. So sometimes you're overplaying notes and it can seem to fit in, but it's not. So it's really important to first loop a section, and that can be just 1 beat or 2 beats at a time. Don't take too much, and really make sure that you play it a few times, and then when you pause it, that you really can. I cannot sing, guys. I really can't sing, but that you can imagine it, that you can sing it in your head. That's very important. And then you try to get the first note to the next note. Very easy, separate, just on your saxophone, and work with your auditory memory. Actually, I first wanted to say visual memory, but that doesn't make sense. But and that's the way to go. So the biggest mistake there you could probably make, and I'm not sure. I mean, tell me if you are doing that or maybe totally not. But trying to play too fast, too directly with the recording along, and then play all the notes that you're guessing they are already from a second or a third time. Just let the audio speak, listen to it, absorb it, let it again speak, listen to it, absorb it, then try a few things. Try the first note if you're right. If you have a matching first note, maybe even just keep it there. Then replay it if you're not 100% sure you have it perfectly in your mind. And that's how you train so many more things than only transcribing, I think. We made a video on that. I think it's called something like the 5 benefits from transcribing. And I really think that with transcribing, it's so much more than ear training. You can improve your sight reading a lot because you have to analyze audio and you have to put it onto notation paper. So if you can do that, it helps with the opposite and vice versa. I don't know if that's maybe a very long-winded answer. Sorry. So let me. You already guys put some other comments. So let me read that for a bit. Yeah, you can put for something like Cherokee, surely put it on to 70% or to 50. I do often 50, but try to keep the speed as high as you possibly can digest. That's something I would recommend, because how good your software even is, whatever you use, it will always take quality away from your recording, and so you're compensated. There is some kind of compensation with slowing down. So if you can do it on, I would, for example, I mean, there is a software called Transcribe, which is probably even a link to in the description. It's an affiliation link, but it doesn't cost you any more. If you would like it, you'll surely help the channel a bit by that. But I don't say you have to get it. There are many other softwares, but it's a very practical one because you can put very, like, I see some transcribing with YouTube. That's not so nice because you cannot put your marker very exact, and then yeah, you have to always kind of look for the right point or the right place again. So that's not nice. It has a quite good slowing down function, YouTube, that's true, but for this marker thing, I would never use it. I just, yeah, you can, if it's something from YouTube, you also can put like an online converter. You put it into audio, that's how I do it. Then you put it into Transcribe, and then you can work with markers and do, mostly if it's fast, if it's Cherokee, 50% or 70. If you can do 70, do 70, because that's already, you will hear a lot more about the pitches. Certainly when it gets to this difficult kind of things like ghost notes, 70% is a big difference to 50% in terms of quality. So, cool. Nice to hear, Aiden. I like your name, by the way, too. Very nice name. Good. Go and practice and go certainly transcribe. And I really like that you're transcribing the solo yourself because, to be honest, this solo is, I found it probably 2 or 3 versions online. But it's so much better if you take the process yourself. And then you always can go to one of these transcriptions and just A/B it a bit and see what somebody else does. To be honest, I have done the same kind of thing. I don't think it's kind of doing a little thesis or research. That's how I see it. Even if somebody else did it, and when somebody else transcribed a solo, it sounds really bad, but everybody has a different kind of interpretation, and me too. And mostly even when it's very good solos, there are so many very good transcribed solos online, but mostly I just disagree politely with some notation things here and there, and that's okay, I think. You have to really write in. Maybe you disagree with what I write down sometimes. That's also okay, but then I suggest you take that transcription and just adjust everything you would like to see differently. That's cool too. How many do you practice every day? I'll quickly go on with the actual solo because that was kind of the plan for this live stream. I have to say, yeah, I just became a father, so that doesn't help in practicing every day. And to be honest, guys, since conservatory, you can ask Timothy, but I am the lousiest person in having something regular going, like an everyday schedule. I tried this so many times, and this is one of the things that I hate the most about myself. But even when I was studying in the conservatory, I tried for years to get one thing going, like that was practice 1 hour every day for 7 days in one go. And to be honest, I failed. I never succeeded in that. So sometimes I'm not a very long practicer. I'm way more into very deliberate practicing. You know, even if you take up your saxophone, that you practice 10 minutes deliberate is way more effective than 1 hour of making. Yeah, a lot of people have this time fetish of practicing long hours. It's even more so when you see classical musicians, I would say. But it's really about how that you practice and how you use the time that you're practicing. I hope that makes sense. So I know a guy, he plays in the WDR big band, Rob Bruyne he's called. I went a few times with him to the WDR big band rehearsals, two with Chris Potter and one with Chris Potter and Randy Brecker. well, never mind what was very cool. That's for some other time. But this guy is a very good, obviously, trumpet player. Otherwise, he wouldn't have that spot in the WDR. But he said he practiced for trumpet guys. It's even different because don't want to how do you say this nicely? I had a bad word in my mind, but you don't want to devastate your chops here, so you cannot practice too much. It's like with classical singers. I heard they cannot practice more than 1 hour or 1.5 hours because they would it would be too much for the voice. So that's way better because you will dive in way quicker into the actual stuff that will make you a better player instead of the quantity stuff. And man, I'm really a bad preacher because so often when I take my saxophone, I'm fooling around like everybody probably, guys. But I really think try to set the bar really low. Try to say, let's say 5 or 10 minutes, in between 5 or 10 minutes, and do that every day. And try to work on something very specific. Try to work on what you can't play. Like, for example, this transcription is hard. That's something like out of my comfort zone. This is practicing. Fooling around is not practicing. That's at best like a soccer player. Yeah, I'm European. I watch a lot of soccer, or a lot when I can. That's like a soccer player who just maintains his condition, in how his ability in how long he can run onto the pitch, which is cool, but he won't improve how long he can keep running. He just tries to maintain a certain level, and that's good too. But I'm already too long talking, and I'm really bad in giving small advice. So let me read quickly a few of the comments, and then I'll be practicing again because thank you, Thomas. Thank you. Yeah, it's something different being a dad. It's really nice. But yeah, there's also a lot of noise now in the house, but that's okay. I like it. Do I think of embouchure? No, only when I practice it. Yeah, embouchure is obviously very important, guys. But that comes while practicing for a big part. You have to, of course, create good habits. So that's where the really practicing goes to. But by the way, to end this story about Rob Bruyne, the trumpet player from the WDR, he would have routines, he said to us, of sessions of 15 minutes 4 times a day. And that was in his prime when he was practicing. So that's not a lot, but he would be really practicing when he was doing those 15 minutes. And so many people they brag about the hours they practice, but they don't actually practice, if you know what I mean. And hopefully, if that makes sense to you. Hi to Saxophone from Germany. It's always funny to read somebody's username instead of a real name, but cool username and cool picture. I see, very small. So let's try to go on again to that very nasty line and try to do it at once. So I'll be starting from that 5 tuplet there in the first line, last bar. And let's see if my reed didn't dry out at this point already. No, it works. So. Oh, I love the intervals. Cool. That's so not saxophonistic. Let's try to redo that at around So I'm now just for people who tune in later, I'm just checking if I would ever be, if it would be a reachable goal to go and practice the full solo on this rock solo from Allan Holdsworth, because I have to tackle many technical difficulties. So I'm now just reading through it and doing that very slow to hopefully make not too many sight reading mistakes, and to see if it's even a feasible thing to do, to if it's even practical, if I won't have too many big challenges that won't be within my reach of technical capacities. So let's start maybe just from the second line you're now having in your screen. So far, so good. Let's go on to the next part. Well, that's a lot of sharps. It's always with an alto saxophone, but it's really a lot of sharps. So I have 3 sharps to begin with, because it's kind of an A with this transposition, but it's not in A. And then, okay. Let's try that bar again and check. Yes. Okay, and now I was in like sight reading mode. What I would do if I would play in a big band, then you of course don't stop and you just go on, but I'm not 100% sure if I nailed it completely. So let me revisit, especially all those extra sharps or naturals that that occur in the beginning of the bar and which have to stay of course through the bar. Yes, it was correct. Let's do it again. Yes, there will be many more altismos, I guess, involved. And this, yeah, like I said, this retro revival really... It really speaks for itself. It's really easy mouthpiece for that. So I'm not affiliated to the brand, by the way. I'm just liking the mouthpiece, but I'm not sure I will throw away, for sure not that Beachler, but I'm not sure which of the two I will keep on using. I'm enjoying them both, still the Beachler and this new mouthpiece as well. Hi Muros, probably no, I don't know if somebody, but I'm already very glad that I'm succeeding in getting my audio and in a split screen, so you can see the actual sheet I'm playing. So you're absolutely right, but I am even not sure how I can check it. I will have to check a lot of YouTube tutorials, yeah, before the next session. So sorry for that, but I'm already very grateful that it's kind of happening and that you can somehow hear me. Sorry for the mono. That could be way better, because I have quite a nice mic and quite nice material, but yeah, never mind. Let's try to go on with the solo. I really dig that line, by the way, that on the where the D minor is so with that fourth kind of stuff that Allan does, that's really so cool. Let's try that just a bit separate. This one I might, by the way, just practice a bit faster already, just to try out, because some things are quite okay to play on a slower tempo, certainly where you have those big skips for a saxophone, like these fourth intervals stacked on top of each other. So then you also have to adjust the embouchure a bit, and if you have to play that in the end in a fast tempo, that's also a thing. If you have to adjust your embouchure over a very fast line, in like, no, this is 16ths, it's not yet yeah, the 16th triplets or anything, but that's also something to check. It might work slowly, but it also then might not work on the real tempo. So that's why I'm testing this a bit more elaborate, try to get the speed a bit higher. And to bypass some of those difficulties, by the way, it's also an extra option is to phrase it a bit different than the original. So here it would help, like you have this skip there from this F to the G, and that's over the octave key, so that's not too helpful, but and then I play that all legato, those four notes, and then from that skip I put my tongue against that G, and that little push of new air helps with the skip if I have to do it. Yeah, you really notice it needs some time to adjust to the new octave, so that helps. And I'll then I group then the G, C, E, A, and then again to that C I will tongue again. So and then it's way more clear. So by the way, yeah, thanks for the advice, Moros, and also for the feedback. Because to be honest, yeah, like you see, I don't have like headphones, or I'm really not aware how it's sounding at your place. Sorry, I'm currently like a lunatic in my little self-built studio talking to my laptop. That's what you would see if you would have like a camera from that side. So let's go on for the new line. And that's okay. There, the C keeps to be natural. Let's start it from that line. That's really cool. I like those skips that he's putting there. I can already feel that this is the kind of lines, when it gets up to speed, that I want to get out of it. Because these kind of skips, it's really not saxophonistic, but it's so nice when I hear it in Allan's playing. So cool, but I think it's okay. At this tempo, it's still okay. I had a little bit of a shady going from what was that, from that F to the A. That's not really easy. I have to really not really pull off of this key here and just try to glide my hand more into that position, and I hope I should be able to get there eventually. So that's a diminished pattern there, like half tone, whole tone scale, but he's starting. No, not true. Yeah, it's true. No, a half tone, whole tone scale, but starting with a whole tone, half tone, and then he leaves one note out of the scale, but it's a certain color. And now it starts changing. sorry, that was a C natural. That's my... Yeah, that's where it went wrong. And then he has the bendings from above. That's something challenging too, but that's really for the last kind of things. So guys, by the way, let me still know who you are if you haven't already, and if you're practicing at this moment a solo, let me know which one, because most of us have more time now, and that's the positive thing about the virus. I mean, there are many bad things about the virus, but the positive is that I'm now again practicing, because I don't have... Yeah, I better cannot list how much I practiced the last 2 years. Oh. Is that then 2 G's natural? So the last of that bar here is then a G natural, yes. And there it's another one. So, okay, that's one of those typical double notes that Allan does. Here I'll need a false fingering. Oh, and there we come into one of his... That's a very cool lick. I love that. When I was listening to the solos, that was one of those places I really enjoyed while listening, but now while watching, this is something that is kind of... It fits still within range, but I have 2 possibilities here to play it. One is with the F quick key. And then, oh great, he even does a double on the B flat. Okay, and then before we go on, let's first figure out what is possible here, because I'm not sure that on the very fast tempo I will be able to do this. It will have a lot of... Yeah, or I'll have to make a test here to where my boundaries are. If I would implement, for example, I should, but a daily practice routine, and it would be just involve 5 minutes, guys. Try that with me. We might make all a vow now to do that, and then just practice this just this line only. Just... Maybe it's possible. Maybe the other way would be... At this tempo I can do that, but it needs to be like 4 times as fast, and then I don't know if I have like the side keys coordination to do that. But that would be something I have to put in a routine, do it every day, and do it very slow. Like, actually you have to say to yourself, the first 3-4 days I won't do it faster like this. Just so you know exactly what you're doing, going from one note to the other. That's very important. So maybe 3 days is even not enough. I would like maybe even a week. I mean, I'm not in a rush. I don't need to know this next week or next month. So it doesn't really matter. It matters how good you play it. And these kind of difficult lines, this will be, I'm 100% sure, like even double the tempo of this, I would be in difficulties. I'm doing it still within my abilities here, but that's also one of those areas you won't go as a saxophone player. So is it because I'm lousy to go in this area, or because it's really difficult technically speaking? I don't know yet. So this is kind of a test case for me, and the main goal is to keep it as low enough that I really can think and prepare the next note. And that's a fairly low tempo, at least in my case, guys. I want to envision the next note before I play it. That's very important. So I'm playing the first note, and then I'm thinking of the half tone higher. And then while I'm playing the B flat, I'm thinking of the D and how I will finger that, and so on. That's also a Sigurd Rusher method, guys, if you don't know him. Even if you're it's a saxophone guy, it's a saxophone book. It's very useful for altissimos, for just saxophone in general and sound production, but he has some cool concepts. I don't know if that might transfer to other instruments, but I'm guessing it might, because this is an interesting concept. You should be envisioning the next note kind of simulating in your head before you play it. That really makes sense. Also, technically speaking. So there are a few more comments. Let me quickly read them. High minor 7 sharp 5. Well, that's, yeah, I don't have to give feedback on that, but that's a mouthful. Of course, we are sharp 11 music. We are almost the same. So yeah, again, I'm in the practicing process of this Allan Holdsworth solo, and there are so many technical difficulties. So I'm going through it on a very, very slow tempo. I'm actually, from my own taste, even too fast, guys. I mean, to be doing it good. So, but what already occurs is that in case I won't get there with a lot of practicing, then I have to maybe do it octave down. Let's check if that would be a nice thing. Okay, that will be like 100 times easier. But then he adapts his line on the end of like this, what now is the first line. He kind of mutates his line to that next chord. That's what I like a lot, you know. So I'll start in the... No, let's do the whole thing. And then you notice, because I went the octave down and it's still okay with the double notes, I can do a false fingering on them quite easily, but I'll have to make the skip back 1 octave higher, because I come into problems on what is this bar here with all the 5 tuplets. Oh yeah, the other ones are 5 tuplets too, but you know, there I come in problems. So then I would have to find a way to get back into the other octave within a very fast tempo. Keep that in mind. I'm doing it very slowly here, and I'll have to find a way back into the other octave. So one way or another, it will give some some hard places. Maybe let's try from that C sharp over C. Maybe I can skip there on the 3rd beat. So we have... Maybe that would be possible. So that's something I can keep always in the back of my mind. This is a possibility, but I'll try to even just, you know, get that on the right octave up to speed, or maybe not, but at least I will improve my playing a bit there if I would practice it. So the goal is not necessarily the thing here. It's just these kind of transcriptions really make you aware of all your incompetence a bit. So the Kambala solo, I'm not too familiar with it, at least not also how it... I didn't ask for the sheet. I didn't ask Timothy to send it, so I don't also know exactly where it falls on alto. I also had a B flat sheet, by the way. I also looked into it. It would be nice. I like to play soprano, guys. but there you don't have so much. I can do a few altissimos because it's already a high instrument, there's not so much headroom there with altissimos, and with these kind of ranges it just doesn't fit. But let me just try a bit of sight reading to continue. Ah. Cool, again. And this works, guys, but I'll be honest here, this one, it's a very easy line in terms of, I mean, just a D natural, E, and then I played a F natural, it should be a F sharp. Makes a little bit. Okay, that's still okay too on this tempo, but I'm really bad on my side keys. I'm not flexible on it, so even this line will be a challenge to get it right. And then what's that with a lot of high lines, I think. Okay, that's still feasible. And there we have a double E sharp, which is a F, which I need a false fingering for, so. Now that one is not clear enough. That one's better. So. That stays a E sharp. Whoa, again. And then we come. Oh yeah, that's also a very cool line with the skips, and that's another thing that saxophone players generally won't do. Hi, Brando. Yeah, do I plan on doing it completely and posting a cover? That's like, I'll be checking like here the process if that is within a reachable goal. If this might just turn out to be too hard. With Sarabet, I kind of did the same thing here, and also there, while I first was just reading the sheet, I thought at 2 or 3 places, like, no way I'm going to make it. Like, I mean, that was really, but I just thought, let's try it. Let's try to come up with one kind of idea to get through it, be it an octave lower, but that comes with sometimes other kind of problems, and in the end, I'm very glad I did, because I had to, I had really a lot of difficult places, but if like some notes connect really difficult on a saxophone, I learned, I think, 2 or 3 new ways of playing a different note. So alternate ways to fingerings, not like real false fingerings in that sense, but really alternate fingerings to find a note. For example, a very stupid one, but I had to play something very fast in 16th, triplet 16th, and that went from a D to a high F, and that's on the sidebar. I don't know if you can see it if I keep it right, but if I would really do it separate, I wasn't fast enough, because that's not generally a place where I would play those kind of fast lines. But I wasn't getting there, and then I found out just by trying different stuff that I really could keep down that side D and that F quick still would work. So that's just a very small example, but I had a few of those. Or for example, there was some kind of dim line where he did something sweeping-ish. Something like this it was, like if I would, that's A, C, E flat, F sharp. I'll try to get my saxophone in the right position so you can, and if I would play it with the normal fingerings or even the second fingering option available, it was just not something reachable within my capacities. But I figured that if you, at some point where I was kind of desperate and I tried, like I had the E flat and I needed to go to the F sharp and back. So it's a very fast turn. Like that the side F sharp only combined with this E flat, I could keep that in place. That did this work. So I had to do a lot of troubleshooting and a lot of problem solving. So that's why it's nice. That's why I would recommend everybody, if you're a guitar player, I mean, Allan Holdsworth is a thing by itself, I know. So that's already cool, but yeah, it's more naturally probably, certainly for jazz players to play horn solos, for example. For saxophone players, it's really not that common to play guitar solos, really. So I'll try to get myself a bit better in screen, but it's really kind of, you know, thinking, because what I do is happening in the other side or something like that. So what do you all say? Let me look quick again at your comments. Yeah, I assume minor 7 sharp 5 that I also, you know, when I was practicing the Sarabad solo and Timothy did too, and we had a very funny discussion actually, or not a discussion, like he was practicing, he was almost there, I was practicing, I was kind of there, and then he started to talk about how Allan thinks, and that he tried to sound like, that he once mentioned in an interview or so, that he tried to sound more like horn players and try to get everything legato. That was like the way he would sound like a horn player, which was amazing to hear. No, I think, by the way, it's in the middle of the process. Let me explain. Because I was trying to put in so much phrasing. That's also where 30 or 40% of the difficult aspects go, and time of, you know, you want to phrase it nice. Whenever you, certainly like if you play Cannonball, or it's a very big part of making it sound well. So I was doing that a lot of the time, and then Timothy came to me and he said how Allan tried to keep it legato, and he too. And then I was like, oh, are you kidding me? I'm trying to, you know, phrase the hell out of it, you know, putting, yeah. And then, but that's also just showed me that, like, I went back to listen to the solo and I thought like, oh yeah, it might be very legato for a guitar player. Oh no, I should maybe just those some of the lines I went like, okay, I should play it all legato. What am I doing here? Trying to phrase a lot of the stuff and losing my time to do something he's not doing or not aiming for. So it was really the opposite. Like a saxophone player wants to phrase a lot, you know, and put in all those articulations and a good kind of phrasing. It generally doesn't sound so nice if you would do like, certainly when it's jazz and you would do like something general jazzy. Let me play something general jazzy. That was way too long line to replicate. I wanted to do that, but so I did a bit of phrasing, bit lousy phrasing, but there was phrasing, not phrasing, in it. And but imagine like if I would play it legato. Came close, I think, through the line. So then it sounds like for a saxophone player really flat and so even. You always want to phrase the hell out of it, you know. You know, putting the tongue at the right places, giving it the shape. I mean, listen to Cannonball, guys, if you're not a saxophone player and you want to get an idea of phrasing, that bouncy effect. So, and Holdsworth was like, when he would simulate a horn player, his interpretation of that was to play it, kind of keep it really legato. So, yeah, that was an eye opener. Like, just like I said in the beginning of the session, if you weren't here, then everything here is so everything is different. It really is a different kind of experience playing a guitar solo. The second thing that occurred directly to me when I did the first Holdsworth solo on Zarabet was, even within the easy lines, is that, wow, we saxophone players are so chromatic. That's instantly what I thought. Like, huh? This is like, even when he's playing outside, he's actually mostly diatonic. Diatonic in the sense of, like, even if it's like an outside kind of pattern, or like augmented or diminished. So that's all shapes, but I would call that octatonic, like everything that's not chromatic, at least. So it was outside outside concepts, but not, you know, the chromatic fooling like a lot of horn players are doing, and not so consistent, at least. So when I was reading through it at the start of that, I thought like, wow, we are some chromatic guys, saxophone players. So let's play a bit again. We were at that D minor on top of the screen now. It's nice. It's a big skips for saxophone, but I think it's okay to play. Oh, there is just like one. I know, probably for guitar players it's just like one extra string you put on there or something like that. I don't want to diminish all what Allan Holdsworth could do. I mean, he's an insane player, and I don't want to downgrade all the lines, but I can assume it's a bit more logical for guitar, but it's really not for saxophone. Let's try that again from the third page. And I should play a bit more and talk a bit less, probably, if I want to get through it. Oh yeah, great. What is that? So I have to decipher that for a moment, guys. Wow. It's, I think, a E sharp, a G sharp, if I'm counting correctly, yes. And then that would be a B sharp. Nice, Timothy. So a C. So F minor, but it reads really weird here. So and then I go from an F to a G, which I can do with the normal fingering, but that, I mean, I'm very far from playing it in time, but this will be really hard. I mean, you hear it go into the altissimos, and to really get those altissimos out beautifully on the spot, you have to adjust your mouth, guys, for guitar players among us. So at that tempo, adapting your embouchure, I don't know if it's a good plan. I might have to come down here an octave. Not that I cannot play it like when I would do it slowly, but on the fast tempo? Yeah, I don't know. Let's start with the last beat of this bar here, like. again a double note with this A. Which is okay. I might play there a D, which can also flip into this overtone. You can just only press 1, 2, 3. So with the A, that's the easiest way, and everybody should be able to do that from beginner to endless. But I think it's a bit nicer to do the bit harder generally with a real middle D. It's a bit more effort, but that's a little bit more like playing actual notes. So I would put there a D. I don't know, it makes a bit more sense than, you know, playing a normal E, then pressing 1, 2, 3 down in the right hand, and then go back to a F. That's not something I saw on a regular bass. It's easier to adapt with flipping into an overtone from that D than to do fingerings I'm not used to do. What are difficult kind of intervals for saxophone? It's not per se the interval itself, but more where it's situated. You know, you have this, the saxophone has like octave key, and that's this little thing on top that needs to go open. By the way, maybe it's better to and it has some kind of also this, that's, you know, for a breaking point in your octave, and it has some reaction time, a bit of a small reaction time, but it has some reaction time. You can, if I have to go over this breaking point, so I speak for an E flat instrument, of course, so that's without the octave key, and then I need the octave key from the next octave starting on the D. So the skip between that is generally hard, and that can be even when I'm on the end of the first octave, the lower, and you go to the second one, or sorry, to the second octave already from the D. But to be honest, no, there it's not that difficult, but it has some of the intervals over that octave. For example, if it's a bigger one for G, just octaves, playing octaves, it's a very good sound exercise, guys. But you see me adjusting a bit with my embouchure. Otherwise, it keeps, even if I don't press the octave key, you stay there. So that's what is mostly the hardest thing about some of these intervals. With the octave key opening and going and closing again, there is some delay time sometimes in the interval. So it's not like it's a fourth that is hard, or a fifth or sixth. Sometimes it's okay. Any interval from is okay, as long as it doesn't deal too much with this octave key. It's a lot of technical details, but yeah, to not go there. It's not anything specific. That's the only thing I can say. So this will be a hard place. Let me try it one time again, but I think it will be BS to try it up there if we get to the real tempo. So let's try on the, just from the first line again. Oh, again. Okay, this will be a hard part. Let's go on. Yeah, if I will have to skip, I don't know where I would do it. The end of line 1, by the way, is still okay. And then probably there. have to get a way back in a logical way. So that will be okay. I can make that adaptive use there. But it's not so nice. I really like to keep it in a normal register. Let's continue. And that was still an E sharp. You know, you have to remember so many of the sharps. Oh. And there we get already. So this, what I just played, that's super, yeah, slow, guys. I know, but I'm just checking out. This will be something like. But I think if I just feel where the notes are going, that it's hard, but that it's possible. That's what I'm trying on to decide now. So that's the process for people who came in later. I'm trying, if you see me playing very lousy and slow, that's like the purpose. I'm just evaluating line per line of this rock solo from Allan, if it will be ever possible to play it. And now we come into this very high line. That's nice. That's also a lot of counting the lines. Okay, so it's triplets, it's fast, and it's not fast at the same time. I have to bear that in mind, because now I can play it, but yeah, with the altissimos, you need a lot of adapting your embouchure there, and some of the connections are not that nice. It's okay when you play it as slow as this, but not when you do it. Let me look for them. I don't know if I can. Maybe I'll have to stand, but you'll see that my fingers. That's still okay, but from the G to the F. I'm not sure if I have to. I can do something different for the G there. Okay, that's a way better option, I think. It's a bit on the high side, however. But maybe it doesn't matter too much on that high tempo, but that's a better option. So now I'm showing it digitally. I will later write in there above it that I'll have to take another way of playing that G. So, and I'm keeping that, so I go from the F to the A, that's okay. But then from the A to the G, I'm doing that same G. I hope you saw that. I don't know if you saw which kind of G I took. Saxophone players, if you want to know, let me know in the comment section. I don't know how clear it is. But yeah, so another G, and I think it's solved there. So let's go on. Let's do it again. And there I need a... Okay, if I do the grace note, I have already a new F. And then there is a beautiful double line. I'll take, I think, the upper one. I'll have to check what works, because it's second intervals anyway. Doesn't matter too much, I think. Okay, that's a B flat, I think. It's a little bit weird in the... Yeah, that's B flat. And then Okay, there's another nice place. Whoa, I have to stop a bit before I start playing wrong notes there in that bar. But I think that's that part I'm just playing now. That's a very sus kind of sound. I love it. It's one of my favorite places in the solo really. So let me do it again. Maybe if it feels comfortable enough, I'll try to do it a bit faster so I can get more of an idea if it will be okay in the higher tempo. And then and then I have to count again. Sorry guys, I'm not very comfortable with that many extra lines. 1, 2, 3. So this. Oh, G. Okay. Okay. Cool. Yeah. So I'm a bit slow now with the altissimos, but that's because you have sometimes like 2 or 3 options with the altissimos, and I really have to deliberately make a choice now in the beginning already which one will be the most practical and which I will continue to use. I had some parts before also where I tried this Chicoria solo. I think it was the one on Got a Match, and that went into a lot of altissimos, and some places the one practice session I would use one fingering, the other practice session I would go for the other one, and then the third one I really wouldn't know anymore. I would use them, combine them, and then it would all get really messed up. So it's very important to decide on. But this will be, oh, and we're already at the end. So, guys, it's up to you. Should I be covering this? I think it will be okay. If you have any questions, by the way, we will be wrapping up. I made it through this transcription. Guys, by the way, let me know still from where you are. If you haven't yet, send it a message. It would be really nice to get to meet you guys and to see what instrument you play, from where you are. Maybe if you're practicing transcription, maybe you're practicing one of ours solo transcriptions. So yeah, maybe let me try to wrap up here to get myself a bit more in view. Maybe that's possible. Let me see. That's a bit nicer, maybe, or not. I'm not sure if that's nicer. So, wow, it's really a hell of a ride, guys. It's really a lot of things that are going to be hard. There's just one place I really think I might have to come down. I think all the rest is super hard and will need a lot of practicing. That's for sure. But I think I'll get through it. Important is that you do it like super slow. You could hear me play. I played a bit of the rhythms in the right direction, but I don't mind yet the rhythms. It's more important to see how the notes connect to each other, and if that's okay for a saxophone player, and also the intervals and everything that comes with it. Going to altissimo is okay, but sometimes the fingerings are just not that easy to do. So guys, if you don't have any questions yet regarding practicing transcriptions or how to deal with it, then I'll be wrapping up. It's already 1.5 hours, so that went very fast. Also, when you're start talking a lot like I do. So I hope it was a bit informative. I don't know, and also for people who don't play a saxophone, to see what the process is. It's not something, it's if you want to kind of nail a solo, it just takes time, dedication, and effort, and just it takes just time. It you need to keep calm and break it down into many pieces. That's very important, so that you can, and then decide on what is still within achievable goal for you. There were a few very fast places. Maybe it's just not achievable for me, and then I have to also be not too do not let my ego speak too much, and to maybe decide that, or I need an alternative way of playing it, maybe an octave down, or I have to abandon this sinking ship, because it's not too much of a problem. I might learn a lot out of it, even if I cannot make the complete cover. If I can, I'll be posting this on the channel. I mean, I'll make Timothy do it as well, because I mean, it's just a guitar solo. That should be obvious. There's no difficulties in fingerings and stuff like that, so he should be able to do that. And yeah, so that's it, guys. So thank you for watching. We never live stream. I don't know if you're interested in more live streams of this kind, like practicing solo or transcribing, but also, man, it's really not a romantic sight to see, a guy just sitting on his own behind a computer listening to very ugly, slow down parts, very tiny parts of pieces, and once in a while trying to figure out what the kind of false fingerings are, or the ways to finger stuff. Yeah, I don't know if that's interesting. If it is, surely let me know. So cool, guys. I hope you will be practicing this time. If you like the channel and you haven't subscribed, you maybe might subscribe. That would be nice. That helps us. If you like, even like, this is a cool, I think it's a cool t-shirt. My wife designed this. She can draw very nicely, and she made the logo that you probably are a bit familiar with, of our little icon as well, and it's on a t-shirt, so I like that geeky nerd stuff. We have that on Teespring if you want to get it. Yeah, so I'm Jorre Reynders, that's my name, and I'll hopefully see you next time for a next live session. So I'll be going and practicing this. See you guys.